The line between brilliance and madness has always been razor thin. Tonight we stand at that boundary, where reason ends and something stranger begins. Have you ever wondered why certain truths seem untouchable by logic, yet refuse to disappear? Jung's solitary nights in the Bollingen Tower were marked not just by silence, but by poltergeists, prophetic dreams, and visions so vivid they left stains on his reality. He didn't run from these experiences. He studied them, let them redraw the map of psychology itself. Jung called this frontier the psychoid unconscious, a boundary where mind and matter blur, shattering the neat walls of Western rationality. But in modern life, we're taught to dismiss the paranormal as superstition. Notice the reflex, the embarrassed laughter, the nervous dismissal. This is psychological repression in action. You're invited to fit in, not to see. Yet Jung believed that every time we repress the mysterious, we exile a piece of ourselves. Schopenhauer warned, "The world is my representation." But whose representation is it really? Yours, or the part of you that you've silenced? Nietzsche once wrote, "The most common form of human stupidity is forgetting what one is trying to do." Western science forgot what it was searching for, a reality too vast for comfortable answers. What if Jung was right? What if these so-called hallucinations aren't symptoms of a disturbed mind, but doorways into layers of reality the ego is desperate to avoid? Ask yourself quietly, when was the last time reality moved in ways you could not explain? Did you run toward it or did you hide? Tonight, the question is not whether you are sane. The question is, how far are you willing to go to glimpse the truth that waits beyond reason? The boundary between madness and truth is where this journey begins. Pause and listen, because what you cannot explain often holds the most important secrets about your mind. Let's begin with a question that rarely makes it past defensive laughter. Why do so many rational people recoil when the paranormal is mentioned? What secret terror is being defended? Modern life demands explanations. Certainty feels safer than wonder. The reigning philosophy is scientific materialism. If you can't measure it, it isn't real. But history's deep thinkers have always seen through this veneer. For Jung, the line between reason and the irrational was not a wall to protect the mind, but a veil hiding its true depths. He felt the trembling presence of the shadow, the part of the psyche we exile because it disturbs our comfort. To Jung, rejection of the paranormal was a shield. Freud felt this wedge split his friendship with Jung. Where Freud saw pathology, Jung sensed revelation. Skeptics often mock believers, projecting their own unacknowledged intuition outward. This is shadow projection in its purest form. It's easier to call someone foolish than to face a mystery that destabilizes your identity. Rationality offers cognitive closure, a kind of emotional safety net. Many would rather cling to comfortable error than face the terror of uncertainty. But watch closely. Every quick dismissal is a clue. What discomfort, what forgotten pain is hiding beneath that certainty? Jung challenged us. Instead of rushing to reject the paranormal, pause and ask, what feeling am I avoiding? What secret fear lurks beneath my need for explanation? Practical exercise. This week, notice every time you dismiss something as nonsense or impossible. Pause. Name the emotion you feel. Is it anxiety, embarrassment, or anger? Write it down. You might discover that the irrational isn't out there. It's a shadow dancing on your own wall. The pursuit of certainty is seductive, but it can be a prison. Jung's shadow reminds us, what you fear, you serve. What you repress, you become. Are you brave enough to face the irrational and glimpse the boundary between skepticism and understanding? The deeper you go, the more you'll realize. The shadow is not your enemy. It is the hidden map to your true strength. Sometimes the universe whispers, but most people recoil, pretending it's only wind. Jung did not believe in mere coincidence. He saw the world as threaded together by what he called a causal connecting principle, synchronicity. During his Red Book years, events linked by meaning, not mechanism, began to reveal themselves with uncanny timing. The scarab beetle episode, a patient's persistent dream of a golden beetle. answered moments later by one tapping at the window, was not a trick of chance. It was the unconscious shattering the surface of reality. Materialists scoffed, demanding proof or repeatable cause. But Jung's response was philosophical and scientific. Newton's certainty dissolves at the quantum level, where non-locality and entanglement bewilder even the most rational minds. Quantum physics, far from debunking Jung, nods quietly in agreement. The fabric of reality is less stable, less predictable than we care to admit. Ask yourself, how many times have you brushed aside impossible timing as just random? Each time, you silence a profound language, the psyche using the world itself as a canvas to communicate. Here is the danger. When you ignore synchronicity, you silence messages from your deepest self. You allow the mind's noise to drown out the very signals meant to guide, warn, or awaken you. Practical exercise. Recall a moment of impossible timing. What inner question were you wrestling with at the time? What meaning did you quietly assign and then dismiss? Write it out unfiltered and consider. Was that random, or was it your unconscious speaking through the choreography of your life? In Jung's universe, the world is not chaotic, but charged with unconscious intent. The real question is not whether synchronicity is real, but whether you can develop the courage to notice when your soul is trying to reach you, and to listen. Sometimes, what breaks the rules of logic is actually an invitation to discover a deeper order. In the flickering shadows of Bollingen Tower, Jung observed the world behave in ways that mocked scientific comfort. A kitchen knife shattered in his hand. A heavy table exploded without warning. Unexplainable sounds punctuated the isolation of night. These were not just tales to intrigue the curious. They were the outer signs of a psychic storm, an internal turbulence leaking into the physical world with a devastating subtlety. History is littered with such accounts, not just from Jung, but from haunted houses and emotionally charged gatherings, where reality itself seemed to bend in response to deep psychic distress. The mechanism behind these disturbances defies easy explanation. Jung saw a profound link between repressed emotions, rage, grief, unspeakable trauma, pent-up sexuality, and the anomalies that seemed to erupt from nowhere. Objects moved, sounds appeared. Disturbances manifested not in spite of emotional pain, but because of it. The adolescent, the trauma survivor, the emotionally wounded individual, each seemed somehow attuned to an invisible frequency capable of distorting the world around them. Their psychic rupture echoed through the walls, turning private agony into public enigma. Modern observers may dismiss such events as coincidence or trickery, yet the correlation lingers stubbornly. Emotional storms inside often forecast disturbances outside. Jung's investigations revealed that when inner chaos goes ignored, reality may become a theater for its expression. The haunted environment is less about external entities than about internal fractures seeking resolution, pleading for recognition. It is a warning and an invitation, pressing us to consider how our hidden emotions shape the very fabric of life. There is a path beyond chaos, but it demands courage. The work is not in exorcising the ghost or repairing the shattered glass. It is in facing what the phenomenon is trying to reveal. As Jung discovered, when an individual begins to meet their own chaos head-on, the need for external manifestations begins to dissolve. Reality quiets, the world settles, not because the ghost vanished, but because the psyche was finally heard. The true lesson is not to fear the disturbance, but to listen for the secrets that ride within its wake. There are moments when time itself seems to fracture, and the mind tumbles into visions of futures not yet lived. For Jung, this was no idle fantasy, but a visceral reality. In 1913, as Europe sat on the brink of catastrophe, Jung was haunted by dreams of blood-soaked floods, the destruction of cities, and a world unraveling in chaos. These visions arrived months before the first shots of World War I echoed across the continent, shaking Jung's faith in linear time and exposing a territory of the psyche that operated beyond rational chronology. This crisis was not merely personal, but deeply philosophical. If, as Jung's visions suggested, the future can impress itself upon the present, then the comfortable borders of free will and causality begin to dissolve. Psychologically, this opens a vertiginous gulf. If the unconscious contains fragments of what will be, how much of your life is truly chosen, and how much is the echo of something already unfolding on a deeper plane? Depth psychology entertains the possibility of retrocausality, the idea that archetypes in the psyche can anticipate, or even influence, what later appears as fate. Jung did not reduce these phenomena to superstition or delusion. He saw their roots in the same symbolic strata that shape mythology and personal destiny alike. The unconscious, it seems, is not confined by tick marks on a clock, but swirls in a timeless current where the personal and collective intersect. Most people have tasted this mystery. A dream that plays out in waking life, a vision that feels like a premonition dismissed as coincidence. The rational mind is quick to file these experiences away, afraid of what it might mean to seriously consider them. Yet to ignore such moments is to ignore the psyche's own warning system, a subtle but insistent signal that your inner world is vaster than the logic of daylight allows. What does it mean to live with this awareness? It asks for humility and presence, a willingness to let your dreams speak for themselves, and to honor the possibility that time, as you usually know it, is only a convenient illusion. In Jung's world, to take dreams seriously is to stand on the threshold of a reality where past, present, and future trade places like dancers, revealing the mind's deepest warnings, longings, and possibilities. Throughout history, the most courageous minds have glimpsed a reality that cannot be contained by the solitary ego. Jung's encounters with the paranormal were not isolated anomalies, but confirmations of a theory that all minds are tethered by invisible filaments, crossing boundaries of time, geography, and culture. The collective unconscious is more than poetic conjecture. It is an active psychic field, a living archive of ancestral memory and archetypal symbols, whispering through dreams, art, and myth. Archetypes manifest with remarkable consistency across continents and epochs. Whether it's the heroic journey, the shadow figure, or the Great Mother, these forms appear in countless isolated cultures, suggesting that psychic inheritance is not a metaphor, but a reality. The near-death experience, a shared vision between strangers on the brink, adds another strand, inviting us to consider that consciousness can access realms beyond what the individual has lived or imagined. Modern individualism recoils at this prospect. The ego is built to survive, to assert itself as unique and untouched. Yet beneath this drive lies a trembling fear, the terror of dissolving into something larger, of losing the boundaries that define the familiar self. Jung did not flinch from this truth. He saw that depth psychology, myth, and even paranormal phenomena point to an underlying unity, a psychic substrate that connects all who breathe. Science, too, has begun to nod toward these mysteries. Rupert Sheldrake's theory of morphic resonance, along with non-local consciousness experiments in quantum physics, challenge the old paradigm and suggest that the mind may reach further than the body it inhabits. What you inherit unconsciously, from ancestors, from culture, from the depths of cosmic pattern, is not simply baggage but potential. Fears, wisdom, habits, and strengths, all waiting beneath the surface. To live with this awareness is to recognize that every thought, every dream, every synchronicity is a ripple in a shared field. The self is not a fortress, it is a portal. The world is not yours alone, but an ancient resonance echoing through the corridors of psyche and history. In Jung's vision, the greatest power lies in accepting this connection, learning to listen for the voices of the past, the symbols of the tribe, and the wisdom that travels silently across centuries. There are places within us that speak in voices not entirely our own. Jung spent years studying mediumship, attending seances, and exploring the phenomenon through the case of Helene Preiswerk, his own cousin. When she communed with spirits, her words and personalities shifted with a startling autonomy, revealing structures in the psyche that defied simple classification. What began as a curiosity soon became a confrontation with the mystery of autonomous complexes, parts of the mind that think, feel, and act independently, sometimes with intelligence and purpose rivaling the conscious self. This raises a provocative question. At what point does a dissociated fragment become too intelligent to be explained as just psychological? Jung wrestled with the limits of rational interpretation, wondering whether the so-called spirits accessed by mediums might be more than split-off pieces of the psyche. He found resonance not only in Western psychology, but also in shamanic, mystical, and indigenous wisdom traditions, which for centuries have embraced the reality of voices, entities, and presences far beyond mainstream science's reach. In daily life, most people experience moments of dissociation, losing time during rage, feeling possessed by a compulsion, hearing a whisper of intuition that seems not to belong to the everyday self. These moments unsettle the illusion of a unitary identity, calling into question where I ends and the unknown begins. Jung understood that every autonomous complex is, on one level, a drama of the mind's forgotten parts, but on another level, it may be a doorway to an independent intelligence poised at the border of inner and outer worlds. To acknowledge these experiences is not to surrender to superstition, but to honor the complexity of the psyche and its capacity to surprise, disrupt, and awaken. In Jung's journey, mediumship was never about conjuring ghosts for spectacle. It was about mapping the layers of consciousness and asking what it truly means to be inhabited by something greater, stranger, and perhaps even wiser than oneself. The question remains, how would your life change if you stopped resisting and began to listen for the wisdom that emerges from the hidden chambers of your own mind? There comes a moment in every genuine psychological journey when words collapse and the ego trembles before a presence it cannot define. Jung called this encounter the numinous, a brush with the sacred that shakes, terrifies, and intoxicates in equal measure. During the turbulent years of the Red Book, Jung lived through visions and ecstasies so profound that reality itself blurred, leaving him straddling the line between madness and initiation. Like the fabled Tower of Babel, his worldview was dismantled by forces greater than thought, and in those ruins he discovered new meaning. Philosopher Rudolf Otto described the mysterium tremendum, the awe and terror that come when confronted with the wholly other. For some, these experiences shatter the comforting structure of identity. They feel exposed to the infinite, overcome by an intensity that psychiatry often misdiagnoses as pathology. Too often, modern psychology is quick to label such unfoldings as psychotic or schizophrenic, ignoring the sacred undertones in favor of clinical safety. Jung's courage lay not in avoiding these encounters, but in seeking ways to contain them. He devised active imagination, ritual, and symbolic work, tools for holding the numinous without losing sanity. It is a delicate balancing act, a dialogue with forces that demand humility and respect rather than conquest or denial. For many, the fear of madness keeps the numinous at arm's length. But Jung's journey suggests that madness and revelation are not opposites. They are different ways of meeting realities too vast for the rational mind. In the end, it is not the experience itself that matters, but the integration, the willingness to let the encounter change you without annihilating the self. To face the numinous is to risk everything you have known for the possibility of knowing yourself anew. It is rebellion against the smallness of ego, permission to engage with the mysteries that support or undo reality. When the ego shatters in the presence of the divine, what is lost is the illusion of control. What remains is the indelible mark of truth, etched onto the fabric of soul. There is a haunting beauty in accepting that the mind, no matter how vast, can never contain the full measure of reality. Jung's final reflections on the paranormal resist simple answers. He did not offer proof to satisfy skeptics or the comfort of delusion to believers. Instead, he pointed to a deeper truth. Consciousness perpetually exceeds the boundaries of materialism, and the very mysteries we are tempted to ignore are the ones that push us toward wholeness. The mature task is not to choose between skepticism and belief, but to hold the paradox, embrace the tension between what can be measured and what must be wondered at. Jung recognized that the psyche is not locked within the skull. It spills into dreams, symbols, relationships, and the uncanny rhythms of synchronicity. The stories of ancestors echo inside us, shaping destiny in ways we can sense but never fully name. Schopenhauer's insight lingers. The world is my representation. Yet whose representation guides your life? The fragile egos or the voice of something ancient, far older than self? In this light, every paranormal experience becomes a challenge. Not to explain it away or worship it blindly, but to use it as a compass pointing toward the areas of life where mystery is still alive. The practical path forward is not filled with grand gestures, but with simple rituals, cultivating active imagination, paying attention to the dreams that arrive in the quiet hours, and honoring synchronicities without falling into superstition or naivete. This is the invitation, to acknowledge the mystery, to sit with it, to let it reshape your deepest questions. In the end, Jung's ultimate gift is this permission. You do not have to solve the mystery to find meaning. The point is not to master reality, but to be mastered by its depth without submission to fear. What if your resistance to the irrational is not a protection, but the last barrier keeping you from a deeper knowledge of yourself? The challenge is to step beyond, into a wider truth, where the unknown becomes the field in which authenticity and transformation take root.